So I got some news for you. Some good news. I'm
You
not
won
gonna.
the lottery and you're sharing.
Dude, I wish. No, I did that when I got ran over
That's
by that
true.
cop. No, but anyways, I'm gonna tell you off air. I'm not gonna tell you here. All right, guys. Thanks, guys, for watching another episode of Well That's Something podcast. I'm your host, Ian Hilton, and today I got Nick. Nick got Nick Yuvon again today. Yeah, brother. Hey, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. So Nick Yuva he's served. I think I told you on this in the first podcast we did. You went overseas 3 times, Afghanistan. You were my NCO, or my second deployment. Your third deployment in the training room, dude. One of the best NCOs. Thank you, man. Love you.
Anytime.
Dude,
Love you more.
I love you, bro. I love you.
I love you more than you love me.
It's questionable. Anyways, hey, so we're going to talk about mental health, and this is really important for people that are coming, our soldiers that are coming out of, like either medically retiring or if they're getting out to take advantage, not take advantage, but to really get help for yourself, especially mentally. Mental health nowadays is super, 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 super important. Uh, to not want to shoot up a school. That's a real thing. Because it's you honestly have to make sure that you're checked up here in order to function in society and like just to be able to be uh, to function as a civilian. So, what were kind of the steps that you took when you got out, and like mental wise?
hmm Yeah, when I first got out, they had me like file disability as I was getting out. Like, I didn't even get out before I had already filed, you know. And so they told me to file, mental stuff, like try and get PTSD on there. So, um, went and talked to the psychiatrist there and everything else, and they weren't super helpful. The ones that were there just for the disability rating, you know what I mean? Like, because they see so many guys come and go, so they're more there to kind of gauge what you have. They're not really there to be your counselor through the process. But
Right.
that's the first step when you get out is make sure you do the claim, you know. But just remember that first therapist, they're just there to kind of gauge what it is you have mentally going on, and then you'll actually see a therapist when you get out. You go to your own VA and stuff like that. But that initial therapist kind of took some stuff I had said out of context, and so she rated me as having like other stress-related anxiety, and I was like, I don't really have that. I don't really have anxiety like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I ended up seeing another therapist, the actual one who's here where I live here in North Carolina. She understood that it was just some PTSD symptoms, and so that's when I started talking to them. So I did a little bit of trauma-based counseling, like, hey,
Yeah.
this is what I've been through. Okay, this is what I'm feeling. Okay, why do you feel this way? And then I did a group session at one point too, which definitely helped out a lot. You know what I mean? I think it's important mental health-wise to talk about what it is you're feeling with
Yeah.
other veterans. You know what I mean? Because you could talk to you blue in the face to a civilian, but
Now,
they've been in that world and not really going to get where you're coming from.
did was it one of those things where like, hi, my name is Nick Yuva, and I,
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not making
No,
fun of it
they
whatsoever, but like how,
they
but I'm
kind
glad
of
that it helped you.
did that, like, yeah, during the group session. They kind of went around and they're like, okay, it was like, what are you individually struggling with? And there was a lot of guys there who, mostly older dudes, some Vietnam dudes still there, and
Dude, I
some
bet
people
those stories were
training and whatnot.
crazy.
Oh yeah, yeah. But a lot of it was just, a lot of these guys was dealing with there's a lot of anger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of just that, like, hypervigilance. Can't relax, emotionally numb, just run of the mill stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure. And that was one of the things that you were telling me about too, is that you were kind of struggling with anger. So what were like the what was like? Were there like step by step process like that you had to go through? Of course, there probably was, but I'm saying, what was the process like? Kind of what they told you how to deal with things and ways
I
to
think
function at home.
Yeah, I think the main way to kind of get started in anything like a process of healing is to realize you have a problem. You know what I mean? You
Mm-hmm.
can't get help unless you know you have a problem, and you can sit there and talk to somebody and tell them how you feel, and they can be like, you have aggression issues, which stems from this or that.
Mm-hmm.
But unless you're willing to take that and say, you're right, let's do something about it, it's not going to really do you very well. But I mean, I noticed that when I had gotten out, because I was cast out, you know what I mean, I was by myself, no other
Mm-hmm.
veterans around, it was just me. My whole, everything slowed down. I had a minute to sit back and process life, you know what I mean, at
Yeah.
first. And that's when, especially military guys, you always want to be in control, you know what I mean, because you're used to having structure. So
Yep.
you want to be in control. Other people's problems don't matter because you were deployed, blah, 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 you know what I mean? So that's kind of the mentality you have, and it makes you
Mm-hmm.
aggressive, it makes you easily to anger, and it makes you kind of controlling. And I noticed that was the path I was going down, and I was like, hey, I don't want to be this person, for my future spouse. I don't want to be that guy,
Yeah.
I need to get myself right.
Yep.
So I'm glad I did, get help and talk to people before I met my wife Alex. So.
Yeah, of course. And it's good that you noticed that in the beginning, because a lot of vets will turn blue in the face before they even go get help, because a lot of them think that they're okay because they don't see it. And yeah, it's somewhat kind of like a mental illness when you say like, no, I'm fine, but the actions are there, but you don't have another person there to say that. You didn't have another person to say that. Like you were your sole purpose. You actually uh, did some soul searching. You actually were like, hey, I actually am acting like this. Now, with that being said, how do you think that you found? What was the first signs of like you feeling that way? Like and how to identify that?
Yeah, I mean, I just felt like I was so just quick to anger. You know what I mean? And I was never like physically abusive or anything. Just I was just snappy. You know what I mean? Quick to be annoyed. Very quickly to be quick to be annoyed. Especially with civilians, if they do something wrong, if they complain about something, like, what do you have to complain about, this and that? Like, you don't have a problem. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you don't think you're gonna be that way when you get out, but you just unconsciously you just do it. You know what I mean? You don't even mean to a lot of the times.
right,
It's something a lot of guys struggle with, but it's something when you get out, you have to remember, like, hey, I'm not in control. The world doesn't revolve around me. I gotta, keep my problems at the door and start a new life now as a civilian. You know what I mean? So,
exactly.
but yeah, like you said, it's hard to tell, and a lot of guys don't want to say anything while they're in, especially because of that stigma.
Yeah.
But it is hard to tell.
So there's one thing I want to ask you too is, when I was in the training room with you and the people around us in the actual training room, but like doing different jobs, if somebody made a mistake, you weren't quick to snap at them. Like you had a lot more patience. So what was the difference between you being in the training room NCO to now dealing with civilians? Was it because of what
I
we
think
all
it's
went
just
through?
I think it's just kind of like that camaraderie that you have. You know what I mean? Like you're part of that same realm of the world. And then when you're taken out of that space is when you start to just kind of dissolve and fall apart. Because you don't have the structure, you don't have the crew, you don't have the guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For me, there was no reason to get angry because the next day I had to see you guys and I had to work with you. And you had to trust me. I didn't want to lead by being an aggressive jerk.
Right.
But when you get out, it's like you do it anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just because you're taken out of that element, and now you don't mesh with what's outside of where you were just at. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think that's why a lot of guys just kind of break apart, and all these emotions that you did have
Mm-hmm.
just kind of spill out, and the civilian world suffers for it.
And
And yeah,
let
that's
me
tough.
let me tell you something, dude. It's like when I got out, I had the worst road rage.
As
Before
most dogs do.
exactly.
If you put down though, it's their fault, not mine.
Yeah. No, when before I was in, I was like nonchalant, like okay, you whatever, you cut me off, whatever. I'm like I'm not gonna whatever do this to you. It's cool. It's all good. It's all good. When I got out, I was like I will kill him, mother. You know what I'm saying? Not for real, but like I was just so angry because my thought process is, especially where I'm living now, is that you're in control of like a 7 to 11,000 pound vehicle, and the way that I see people drive now is like so carelessly. They're on their phones. They're just constantly driving and texting. I know I'm sounding like Pop right now. I literally sound like an old like. By my day, I just had to do this and do that. I didn't even have it. I had a horse and carriage. No, but anyways, uh, that's one of the things that would drive me nuts. It's like you're in control of your own life in the vehicle. You and other people's lives who are also driving. Let's take some consideration of other people who are driving. Let's not make this a mess and stay on the course where you need to go. You took your driver's license at like 16. Okay, if you forgot all the rules, Google it. It's all good. It's all there. You know what I'm saying? So like that's when I got out. When I first got out, I was like, dude, I was pretty aggressive.
And it's good because that was your realization moment. It was like, you know what, maybe I'm angry.
Exactly, and that's exactly too. I mean, I was angry with other things too, but that was kind of like there was a couple instances where, like my last duty station, dude, like some guy that I think he was National Guard. He had a different license plate. He wasn't from Georgia where I was stationed. He, in on base, cut over 3 lanes and didn't even put a signal on, and he was right by the gate to get in and out. And so I was like, I honked the horn, and he almost hit me. So like, I honked the horn, I rolled down the window, and I said, what are you doing? And you know what he told me? He's like, what? You didn't see me? And I said, yeah, I saw you, but you almost hit me when I saw you. And he's like, and he played that card where he was like, whoa, what duty station you in? Where I mean, where are you assigned to? And I said,
I'm an E6. I'm
yeah.
my wife's an FRG leader.
No, I said your mother's, your mother's unit. Anyways, I'm probably laughing too hard at that. But anyways, well, I went off on a tangent there. So the thing with going back to knowing that you needed counseling, um, what what were so how are you still in counseling? You don't have to tell me if you don't want to or not. Like,
No, no, no.
okay,
No, no. I'm pretty much good now.
okay,
If I think really the only thing that bothers me now is the stereotypical fireworks, that bothers everybody.
that's right.
That's because, on my first deployment, I got mortared
Yeah.
at least every other night minimum, and there was no bunkers, so,
Mm-hmm.
we were on a little wooden cop in the mountains, so you just lay there, all puckered up, just being
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, hopefully the next one is me. So,
Yeah.
it just makes you kind of, I mean, I'm not even scared about it. Like, I know it's coming, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can see them shoot them off, I'm right there, but when it goes off, it doesn't matter if I know it's going off, it just makes me jump. And it's just the big mortar ones, not the little sparklers.
Oh yeah.
Just the ones that sound like a mortar, but, yeah, I'm trying to, like, work on easing back into it. That way, one day I can take my son to fireworks and not be that dad who's like, I can't go.
Right.
But I'm not that guy who puts signs in his yard, like, I don't give a crap what you do.
Yeah. 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 And you know what?
But,
My thing with that is with the mortars is what's louder. What gets me is hearing the initial. That's what gets me a little bit.
whistly, what gets me is that little whistle right before the pop, because that's what you hear.
Oh
when
yeah.
they're coming in, you kind of hear that.
Yeah.
Right before it hits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. But this podcast. I really want to just kind of focus on. I will keep it short because I know that things are going on right now. But just like the very what if you are getting out and you are experiencing these problems, what we just talked about, it is very important to really just do like a self-evaluation of yourself, even if you don't think you do. Really look and see what's bothering you and see if it's necessary, or vice versa. With stress, anger, whatever. Take a deep look inside yourself, and if you're having a problem with your community, if you're having a problem with like holding a job, or even just with family, you just have some patience with yourself. Sit down and take a good self-evaluation of yourself and look for options. You have plenty of options.
Yeah, and I think it's important too to do that while you're in.
Yeah.
And I think that's where like veteran suicide ends is from within active duty. Like if we took more of the time to be like, "Are you okay, man? Like, come talk to me." Like,
Yes.
You seem upset. Like I would never have done it. I mean, I knew you guys well. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, I grew up, in a Christian family. My parents are pastors. I have no problem being, emotional with people, seeing how they're doing. But just when you're in the military, especially when you're in charge of somebody, I don't know. There's just like this kind of weird stigma. Maybe it's just me. I don't know if other NCOs are like that, but like I never, unless like it was a very obvious problem, like you were like in tears or something was obviously wrong. I didn't want to cry too much. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
I didn't want to like be like, "Are you okay, buddy?" Because I didn't want to make you feel weird. I didn't want to ruin the
Well,
relationship. You know what
and
I mean? You don't want
and
to seem weird, but
and being
I
in,
think that's where you have to start.
yeah.
Guys have to start doing that. You know, you have to understand it's not like lame. You're not going to seem weird or gay because you want to ask your buddy how he's doing. It should be a normal thing. You know.
Right. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And like with being infantrymen, like it's almost like you're kind of going back to like the 1950s style of like don't talk about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
With not with all, but with some,
mm-hmm.
because that was my parents' generation, and I felt it, you know,
Yeah.
and
You
so
don't want people to know that you might have a mental issue because then
yeah,
you get kicked off the line. You know what I'm saying? You don't want that to
exactly,
happen, so that's why guys bottle it in.
right.
But that's why guys kill themselves. You know.
I know, and that was the thing too. With also, I felt a little bit because when we came back from our first deployment or your second, I didn't want to go see therapy because of like I always told myself it was like a lie. Like I'm fine. I'll never catch it. I don't need this. And I was totally oblivious of all the signs that was going on, dude. Like most of the houses that we lived in Colorado, like I had like I punched holes in some of the walls. Like, I was punching holes in walls and stuff like that. And I woke up the next day and I was like, I'm fine. Like okay, yeah, you're good, buddy. But
I think
um,
it's important to kind of do like a decompression when you get home. You know what I mean? Especially when
yeah.
you've seen stuff. Like I remember like having a funny kind of moment in my own head. I don't think I've ever told this to anybody, but um, when we were at, I was the ECP NCO,
Hmm.
my second deployment, your first,
Yeah.
and so I was in charge down there, and somebody, like the ANA had some dudes who had gotten blown up or something, and so they brought them onto the base, and they were like, hey, come, we need help, and they like opened the trunk of the vehicle, and there was like four dudes who were all like quadriplegics at this point, like they'd all have every limb blown off. It's just a pool of blood literally up to like your thighs. You know
Holy
what I'm saying? It's
crap.
like disgusting, and this is they're laying the bodies out and everything, and all my soldiers were down there, a few of them. Um, and I remember one of my platoon sergeant at the time came up to me. He's like, "Hey, he's like, go make sure all the guys are all right." And I was like, "Okay," and like I did. And then at the end of it, I was like, "Who's gonna make sure that I'm all right?"
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
like I think that's the stigma. It's like I mean, yeah, I'd already seen people die, seen people killed, whatever the point before that, but
Yeah.
um, it's still like you're still seeing it. It's still real life. And like I know a lot of guys like to downplay, like it's just an Afghan. Like you try and like it's not American soldiers, so I don't need to take it to heart as much, but it's still a life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a human being, and you just watch them, or you've already seen them in that state. So I just thought it was like kind of funny in my own head. I was like,
Yeah.
I'll make sure they're okay, but what about me?
Hey, what about me?
You can ask me if I'm good, but
Exactly.
I was all right. But it's just one of those things where like we were talking about. It's like if you've been in that lifestyle, people just expect him to be good. You know what I mean? He'll be fine.
Right.
And you might be fine. That's fine. You know what I mean? It doesn't really that stuff doesn't really bother me, but you should still be checking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and with a good leader, which I'm saying not all leaders like that aren't bad, is that a leader after that whole massacre had happened, or whatever happened to a leader below them, um, a leader should be like, yeah, hey, are you okay mentally? Like, how are you doing? Like, I know that you're supposed to be tough for your soldiers as a team leader or so, but another leader above should be like, hey, like, how are you doing? You know what I'm saying? I could
Yeah.
because I know that you're playing Mother Goose. You're playing the part of Papa. You're playing the part of I need to show my leadership that I can handle this, and you're also playing the part of like, um, should I go? Should I not talk to anybody about this? Because you're held in a position of you need to do your job, like as a leader.
And that's fine. Like I mean, and you do need to do your job. You can't sit there and like have a mental breakdown and run away. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Like
exactly.
it doesn't matter what it is you're seeing or what it is you have to do. That's what your job is. You got to do it. But like yeah, like you said, um, not to say that the leaders that I was with at that point wouldn't have done that for me,
Right.
but especially like we've been saying, is just
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
Yep.
And then, I mean, I don't know the numbers, but I'd venture to say that infantry is probably the highest suicide rate amongst Marines, Army. It probably is, and it's
Mm-hmm.
because you can't talk about it. You know what I mean? You got
Mm-hmm.
to It's your job. You got to do what you need to do. So
Just deal with it. Is basically what they're telling you, in a way, in a certain way. But yeah, dude, like it's man, yeah, because dude, I've been in counseling since like, I don't know, 2018, and it's my first counselor was not that good. I mean, he would. What the point I'm trying to make here is like, find yourself a good counselor. When you get out, find yourself a good counselor. If you find one that is, that you feel is new, and or even just doesn't care at all, and he's been there for amount of years, you have the power to find somebody else. You really do, and find somebody else
and
that can tend to you.
and if that person, like one of my first counselors I told them like 5 minutes of one story, and she's like typing, and she's like, okay, so I'm gonna prescribe you this. I was like, whoa, slow down.
Whoa.
Like, I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not going on meds. Not that there's anything wrong with people who are, but it's like,
Whoa.
I don't want to be on meds. You
Yeah.
talked to me for 10 minutes. You're
That's
gonna put me on
so
meds. You know
dangerous.
me. So that's another thing you got to be careful for.
Mm-hmm.
If you're seeing a therapist who's ready to just throw you on drugs in the first 5 minutes,
Yeah.
bounce.
Get out.
You know what I mean? You don't you need to get the right treatment and not
Yeah.
just the VA method of dope them up and toss them over. You know?
Yep. You have to do what's best for you. Exactly. And there's other ways than meds. Because I'm on meds because I am giving them my second chance from the first ones I was taking. So I'm giving this second round a chance to see what it can do for me. So far, not too bad. But don't feel like a guinea pig either. Like, don't feel like a
Yeah.
guinea pig. Don't feel like you have to like sit for months to see if it actually do something to you, and at the same time is actually ruining your life. Then as soon as possible, get off them. Get off the meds because it can make you. I can tell you from experience. It can make you into a different person. It really was. And you look back at like when you were on. I was on like I think I told you this. I was on like 100 milligrams of Zoloft, and I was like, I was like, I was like Jekyll and Hyde. That's all I can say. It was like, it was just honestly just miserable. Not the side effects.
Depending on what it is you're dealing with, a lot of times getting good trauma based counseling
Yeah.
and then doing those kinds of group peer, um, sit down, mental health. Events and things, like a lot of times that is enough to put that seed in your brain to where
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah, these guys are going through the same thing. I do have a problem, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But like I was saying, there's sometimes they're just so quick to throw you on something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you don't get a chance to
Yep.
figure out what's truly wrong with you because now you just don't feel anything because you're doped out, you know what I mean? So
Exactly.
nothing's wrong with medication, but I think if you take medication because of the problem you know you have,
Yeah.
that's fine. But make sure you figure out what that problem is first instead of being like, I'm sad, give me pills,
Yeah.
You gotta know your demons,
And I'm just telling you, if the medication works for you, keep taking it. Don't listen to anything I'm saying because everybody is different. Everybody reacts a different way. There's no same human. We're not robots. So if it works for you, take it. But in otherwise, there are other ways. Like you just said, like talking to other veterans could be therapy for you. Just actually opening up and like kind of making yourself vulnerable in a way to other people that are vulnerable, like make themselves vulnerable, and to and just say it. Just go ahead and say it because it's probably nothing new that they have ever heard. It's nothing new to the counselor. It's nothing new to anybody. It could be new to some people, but I mean, like, it's and that the reason why they do these group counselings. I'm sorry if I'm talking too much, but this is I'm heated right now. I'm heated. Whoa. Anyways, is that these group counselings are for people that are going through this. My wife is laughing. I'm a pastor. Hallelujah, baby. Woo! Amen, baby. No, it's to involve other soldiers that have kind of gone through the same thing, and that they can be like, hey, I'm somewhat older than you. and this is how I dealt with it, and it's worked. So it's like it's just really getting a group of different ideas and decisions and all that good stuff like that from other people that can help a certain new individual.
There's there's a organization out here who they do a lot of good stuff called the Independence Fund.
Yeah.
Um, they helped create that Save Our Allies program
Mm-hmm.
with Ricochet and Tim Kennedy, where they went over and
Oh, Tim
saved
Kennedy.
money and stuff. But the Independence Fund is it's a group out here in Charlotte. They normally help catastrophically injured veterans, with track chairs and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But they recently started a program called Operation Resiliency, and what they do is they find a deployment. Right, you have to apply for it in your unit.
Yeah.
You tell them, how many guys were in your unit, your deployment, what it was like, how many Purple Hearts you had, how many KAA,
Wait,
WA,
hold
like
on.
that.
I'm gonna stop you for a second. You can
Yes.
have more than one Purple Heart. I'm probably sounding really stupid
No,
when I said this.
no. How many people you have in your unit that got Purple Hearts?
Okay. Whoa.
That way they can kind of gauge how intense of a situation you guys
Got
are
you.
in. So
Okay.
basically,
Sorry.
so your unit gets
I'm
selected,
stupid.
and then they fly you all out here
Yeah.
to Charlotte or wherever it is they're hosting it, and you just reunion with your whole unit.
Yeah.
And I got to go out there as a vendor with the firearms company that I co-own.
Mm-hmm.
But we're good friends with the Independence Fund, the CEO and everything, and they invited us out there. I got to see it, and it's the brigade commander was there, or no, sorry, not the brigade, the battalion commander was there, I believe. The XO, the commander, the first sergeant, and then like all the Joes, teenagers, sergeants,
Wow.
platoon sergeants, like 40, 50, 60 dudes just showed up all
Yeah.
together, and they hadn't seen each other in like 10 years.
Whoa.
Yeah, almost 10 years.
Wow.
And then they spent a whole weekend doing workshops with each other, kind of seeing how everyone's doing. And their battalion commander got up and spoke. And he's like, look, that whole time I was with y'all, I was not okay. I went through this, this, and this. And the XO did the same thing, or their company commander did the same thing. He was like, look, I have issues. I've been to counseling. I've divorced, whatever it is. He's like, I went through a lot, and I know you guys do too. So we're family, I might have been your commander 10 years ago, but call me, text me, meet up with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it really helps them because they rekindle with those guys. I mean, I don't think I talked to anybody from my first deployment, which is the kinetic one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't talk to a single person. Maybe occasionally, in passing, like, hey man, how have you been? Good. And that's pretty much it. But I think it's a shame. You know what I mean? Those guys who've been through that stuff with you, I think it's like they're doing with this Operation Resiliency.
Yeah.
It's important to keep in contact with them because those are the ones you can confide in, who know what you've been through. You know what I mean? So they can help. They're the ones who are going to help you through it more than anybody else.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
So yeah, something like that is a great. I mean, it's an amazing thing they're doing. But I think that we can do that on our own as veterans. You know what I mean? Link up with other vets. Link up with your old unit. Don't just leave the army and be like, all right, moving back home to Florida. Never talk to you again.
Yeah.
Don't do that. I regret that a lot. Is not communicating with me. I don't talk to you enough. Before I started doing the podcast with you, I don't talk to any of the guys anymore. But
Right.
I think it's something that we need to work on as vets is not letting that just die out because we're having this conversation now. I know I can trust you. I may not talk to you for 20 years, but I could always call you and say, hey,
Oh, of course.
what's up?
Yeah.
That's what I'm dealing with. But I think a lot of guys, like even being active, you're too scared on the outside to hit up your buddies and be like, so are you struggling too? But yeah, I think that's the stuff that has to change. Is while you're in, ask your guys, ask your folks if they need help. When you get out, get with your fellow vets, get with your past buddies. Keep each other in check for your life. You don't have to go your separate ways. The battle's not over just because you're out.
Yep. That's actually really good ending right there, brother. And so I got one last question before we call it quits. When you just told the story that you actually went and involved yourself in a situation or where they haven't seen them a platoon or whatever, they haven't seen themselves in over 10 years. Okay, how did that make you feel? Jealous. Okay, and explain why.
It's not because I want to experience that. You know what I mean? I think it'd be awesome to reconnect with everybody on that level. And it wasn't not even jealousy. I don't mean that in like a rude way.
Yeah.
It's jealousy. It's like, wow, that's awesome. Like I wish I could do that too. You know what I mean? But it's like, I mean, honestly, some of the stuff the guys were saying, like, I'm a grown man, but I was like,
Mm-hmm.
and these guys that I don't even know who they are, specialists, privates, master sergeant, whoever, get up and be like, hey, I'm struggling. I haven't seen you guys in 10 years, but I love you. They're all having group hugs. They're, laughing, having beers together. I'm like,
Yeah.
this is awesome. I'm like, this is how it needs to be. You know what I mean? Guys get
Mm-hmm.
out of the Army, they don't talk anymore. They shut down. They just go live in a hole somewhere, and they act aggressive to their families and their coworkers. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
why aren't we talking more often? Why aren't
Mm-hmm.
you out there hosting veteran events and going to the VFW and things like that? Young people don't do anything like that.
Yeah.
They don't get involved because it's not cool. You know what I mean? But I think that's why our generation is struggling so hard with the mental stuff, is that we get out and we're like, all right, deuces to everybody else, but when you say bye to your brothers in arms, you also say bye to your sanity. So
Yeah.
you need them to keep you lifted up through that transition and through your those first crucial years when you're out.
Yeah. Dude, I agree with you 100%. I think that even I know this is probably going to be much to ask of a leader, but I think in my I could wrap this up. In my own view of when a soldier gets out and you've been through the mud and the muck with them, is that when they get out, maybe before they get out, ask questions like, "Hey, do you have a plan?" I mean, yes, of course, that's always the standard. But even when they get out, hey, did you make those plans in fruition?
How did
Um,
it go?
exactly.
How are things going?
Yeah.
How are you transitioning?
Yeah. And for me, like to even get a feedback from them when they got out would help me too as a leader. I'm not trying to make it all about me, but I'm just saying,
Yeah, no, yeah, it makes sense.
but like if you just tell me I'm fine, I got a job working at Shake Shack, and I'm we're good. I'm good.
My credit card debt's piling up, and
Well. I'm trying to make a point as like if they say like, hey, I'm living with I moved back in with my mom or my parents or whatever, and I'm working at say like a low income job, and you kind of miss the opportunities of like what the has given you or the Army has given you. I think that would be like a point of concern. Like, well, why did you do this? He's like, well, I just didn't want to. Like, why didn't you want to? You know? So, uh, honestly, we can have another podcast about this if you want to. But, yeah, I'm going to end it right there. Guys, thank you for listening to. Hey, brother, thank you so much for coming on the show. Dude, for real. I know that you're dealing with some things right now. It's nothing bad. Well, it sort of is, but it's not terrible. I'm glad that you came on and you shared your story and we bounced off ideas with each other, man. Dude, I really cannot thank you enough for taking the time on your day, being a stay-at-home dad with your beautiful baby boy, which we've got your Christmas card, and your boy is he's gonna be a lady killer.
he is. He
Yeah.
is. He's gonna do
If
everything his father couldn't.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't have a receding hairline. I'm just kidding. That was messed up. I shouldn't say that.
He's trying, man.
Brother, dude, no, stop it. All right, guys, thanks for listening. This is one of the best podcasts I've ever done.